Welcome, gathered friends, and thank you for joining us once again as we light the lantern and begin another adventure. Tonight we're playing the Era of the Dragons, our D&D homebrew game. My name's Archangelic, or Mal, and my pronouns are she, her, and tonight I will be your game master. So let's go ahead and introduce our players. We'll start with you, Silver.
Hi, everybody. I am Silver_Bulette here on Twitch as well as over on YouTube. And I am playing tonight Fenxiris Roxalar, a gem dragonborn rogue slash cleric, getting more cleric-y every day. She uses she, her pronouns. I use he, they pronouns.
Levi.
Hello, I am Levi, and I will be playing Torsten Pinewalker, the half-elf armorer artificer. We both use he, they pronouns.
And Jaden.
Hello, friends. I am Soliloquy or Jaden. I'll answer to either. I use they, them pronouns. You can find me most places online as FatSapphicBro. I'll be playing the tiefling barbarian named Grief. Grief uses he, they pronouns and also uses a combat wheelchair. I'm an ambulatory wheelchair user, so I like to use that in game. The combat wheelchair is designed by Mark Thompson, who you can find on Twitter at the username Mustangs Art, and the info is linked in our chat. I'm just going to keep calling it Twitter forever. Okay. Welcome back to our space here at Lanternlight Adventures. This is home to all of our TTRPG and related content on Twitch. All of our games are also uploaded to our Lanternlight Adventures YouTube channel. There is a link to our link tree in the chat. You can click on that. It'll take you to all of our various social media pages so you can follow us everywhere we are. If you want to keep up to date on everything we're doing, feel free to also join our Discord, which is linked in the chat. Thanks for joining us for Era of the Dragons, our D&D 5e actual play set in Mal's homebrew world. We stream this game most Sundays from 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. PST. As for where you can find us the rest of the week, most Mondays from 6 to 9 p.m. PST, we stream at Waits for No One, a modern fantasy tale. This is our Montecook Games Cypher System actual play. We built the world collaboratively using I'm Sorry Did You Say Street Magic, and that world building session has been uploaded as a Patreon exclusive and can be unlocked at any paid tier, and our paid tiers start at $1. So check that out if you're interested. Most Tuesdays from 6 to 9 p.m. PST, we stream An Empty Dream, a Girl by Moonlight actual play. We also record an audiocast after show for some of our games where we go over any necessary advancement steps and debrief from the game. You can listen to these for free on our Patreon at patreon.com/lanternlightadventures. All of these after shows will always be free, but we appreciate any contributions and support as it helps us continue to bring you awesome queer content. Just as a reminder, each month we take the last 7 days of the month off so that we can edit and prepare more content for y'all, as well as have a bit of a break to handle our day-to-day responsibilities. And finally, in support of A Free Palestine, we will be sharing the GoFundMes for various families. The first family we are trying to help out is the Masood family. Dahlia and her husband Rami and their 4 children are in great need. Dahlia and Rami worked as pharmacists but have since lost their home and pharmacy. Their goal is currently set at 50,000 euros, and they have raised 39,574 euros as of this afternoon. Any help and support you can offer would be amazing. Their GoFundMe is linked in the chat and is also in our link tree. Thanks so much, friends.
Thank you so much for those announcements. Without further ado, let's get into this. Let's recap. So you have been in Northern Reach for a little while now. You were chasing down the Restoration, a cult of dragon worshippers, seeking to possibly release Tiamat, the great fiendish dragon and mother of chromatic dragons, onto this world. In an effort to gather a offering that was worthy of Tiamat, they gathered riches from across the realms into one place here in Northern Reach, an ancient fortress built by giants long ago, and sought to use its magics to fly this mass of gold down to wherever they are completing their ritual. You thwarted that plan, strewing gold all over the realms from this flying fortress, and befriended a giant in the meantime. Coming off of that, you know you need to get back to Brusea and speak to Rami and see what you need to do next, what steps are in store. But you allied with the current custodian of Winter's Keep, Awitdir, and his cantankerous, to put it best, helper, his counselor, and you adventured together back from Winter's Keep to the port city of Iceport. And in that journey, Dirk, in the middle of the night, sought counsel himself from someone. Seems that he had maybe was working with someone who is not entirely your friend, but that person decided that Dirk was no longer useful and turned him into a demon in order to weaponize him against you. You managed to fight him off, but not before Awitdir fell to the fiery blaze of this demon's death throes. You used a boon that had been given to you by a witch of the god Vergus, or Wergen as she called him, and managed to revive Awitdir. And you continued on your journey, learning a little bit about him and his place in this world. But now you arrive in Iceport. And down below you, you see in the harbor of Iceport, far below you, from your vantage point at the top of this fjord. To remind you, Iceport is not a city that has been spread out. It's in this fjord. It's a enclosed bay with massive cliff faces that are covered in buildings that are attached to the cliff face. So it is a city that has been built up out of the water. You are standing at the top still. You are looking down into the harbor, seeing a massive ship of the line, a massive Boston naval vessel. You, on the side of it, you can see there are ports for 30 cannons over 2 decks. The banner of the Elven Republic of Vosna flies high, a silver field with blue trim, and a blue intricate tree at its center with branches that spread out far. Below it flies a banner of war, a gold field, no trim, with a white dragon's head dripping stylized blood from its cut neck. Awitdir sees this, and immediately he begins looking through a bag, and you notice that this is the things that Dirk brought along. He opens a journal, some sort of folio or something with information, logs and things. He says, I don't think they were expected to be here.
Fantastic.
It does appear that this is how they're announcing themselves. You are muted.
Go ahead.
I'm not sure if Silver was trying to talk, but they were muted.
Yeah, I was trying to talk. I was saying, does anyone know what that flag means? And she's pointing up at the flag of war.
Well, as you're wondering that, I know you might still wonder it out loud, but anyone can roll me a history check.
I wonder it out loud in their heads.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a natural one for a total of 5.
Oh, yeah.
13.
13. Okay.
I'm not rolling because Fenxiris would not know what that flag means.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to say what it would mean, but on a 13, I think just, in your time traveling about, knowing things and meeting people, this is a flag that indicates their mission. It's hard to say. You don't know what their orders are, but They are here not with purpose of peace, but they've been given a military mission, and that's the reason they're here. And that's the only reason they would fly a banner like that.
Okay.
But it would be individualized to the mission at hand.
Say that part again.
It would be individualized. The banner is specific to the mission.
Okay. Well, it represents whatever mission they're set out on.
Huh. Okay. I mean, I've seen the other flags they're flying, and I mean that's pretty sure that's like the Vossnen flag up there, and I don't that's a new one. I haven't seen any of their vessels flying that before.
Yeah, it's whatever they're set out to accomplish.
Huh. All right. Well, I
Oh.
guess
Atwood Deer, like, go ahead and give me an insight check as Atwood Deer is like looking over this.
13 again.
8.
8. Okay.
I got a 14.
14. Okay. I think with the 13 and 14, you can at least tell that Atwood Deer is angry. He's trying to hold his composure though the best he can. He is not a well-groomed and well-maintained diplomat. He's a kid that got pulled from the tundras and put onto a throne.
Hmm.
I'm just gonna point blank ask, what's wrong, dude?
He says, that's not a diplomatic mission. It might as well be an invasion.
What do you think they're here to do?
I think it's my job to find out, but I don't know.
Well, need some escorts.
I'm sorry to have to ask this, but I need someone to announce me. It's very important.
Grief just chuckles.
I mean, I would say Torsten, you're always you have the nice booming voice. I just don't have that. You feel comfortable doing it?
Works for me. So do we just stride on up to the boat?
He says, yeah, I think that's what we need to do. Or we can seek out the elder. I do know the elder, Elder Stormdrifter, who is the leader here in Iceport. Maybe, oh goodness. He says, I am not good in these situations. This is what Dirk helped with a lot. He says, maybe if we have the elder as well, because it is it's her town, it's her city. This is her domain, and even I would be imposing by showing up unannounced as well. I did not expect to be here on diplomacy either. I expected to just come through and leave.
Mm.
I think it's polite to tell the elder first.
Yeah, sounds right to me. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Just a heads up here. One thing we know from our dealings with the Vossnen Empire, every time dragons attack an area, they come in to offer quote unquote aid and take over the kingdom. We know something they might not know, which is, yeah, the cultists were near your town. Yeah, there was a dragon. But guess what? Your people are fine. And
Neither
most of
those
the
are issued.
cultists are dead.
Mm-hmm.
So
So we have leverage at least.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
We don't need their presence here.
precisely.
Okay.
Is there a specific way you have to be announced?
Uh, yes. He begins to write down something on a strip of paper.
Cool.
And I'll put it here, but
Sweet.
and he hands it to you, and I'll read it for the sake of everyone else. It says, Avwit Deer, second son of leader Avwit Dia, long may she live, custodian of the throne of Northern Reach, keeper of Winter's Keep. He says it's annoying.
Very formal.
A lot.
Yes. But it's important to declare who you are.
Mm-hmm. Second son, eh? Is that a private matter?
I mean, it's why I was picked to be custodian, because I couldn't actually inherit any other leadership, which made me neutral, I think.
Yeah, that scans. That scans.
Yeah. I did not stand to gain anything by becoming the custodian, I guess, or being forced to.
Mm.
But all right. I'm familiar with the elder, so I guess we head down.
Mm-hmm.
Lead the way.
Yeah, you so there's two ways again to move through this city. There are stairs and ladders and ways to like manually go up, but there are lifts and pulleys that are operated by seemingly just teenagers or young kids in this place. They take money in exchange for lifting you up on these like elevators that they are manually pulling. He of course will throw some gold at one, and the kid will say, anywhere you want to go, up, down, those are the two directions. And he says, I guess we're going down. And this kid says, all right, hold on to your nuts. And he like lets the loose the rope, and you go down real fast. This little Goliath kid, and I say little, like, you know, it's young, but this Goliath kid is like 6'2" already. Like, yeah, and you come down to like kind of the mid-level of this of Iceport, kind of the division between the from here, Iceport kind of spills out from the cliff walls down into the harbor. It goes kind of thinner. The city kind of grows thinner as you get up the cliffs. But from below this section are the warehouses and processing of the goods that come in and out of Iceport. But Avotir brings you to a building, and it doesn't look any different than any other building. There's just a plaque that says City Hall. And it seems just to be as functional as the rest of the city. It seems there is a focus on function over form in Iceport. He brings you in, and a Goliath woman at a desk says, first in giant, but then kind of assessing you. She says, how may I help you? And he says, he kind of like nudges you. Like,
oh no, okay. And then he'll kind of straighten up, breathe in. Now presenting Owitir, second son of leader Owitia, long may she live, custodian of the throne of Northern Reach, keeper of Winter's Keep.
She will actually kind of stiffen up. She says, I apologize. The elder is not here. I don't know if you noticed, kind sir, that there is a massive ship in our harbor, and the elder is lower down, speaking to their captain. Awadir says, I know maybe you don't know, but do you have any information for me before I get down there? And she says, all I know is that they want to leave soldiers here. They want to leave their rangers here specifically. I don't know anything other than that. I'm sorry. And he says, thank you kindly for your time. I will seek out the elder myself. And he will, like, as you're leaving, he says, thank you.
Oh, yes. Important part of the function.
And y'all will go to the lift again, and like you have to wait a second. But that same Goliath kid says, going down further? And I would dare say, yeah, yes, we are. He says, all right, heading straight down. And again, just lets loose like this counterweighted thing. And it's funny to see, because like as like he goes to slow it down, this kid goes to slow it down, like it lifts him off the floor, like he lifts up both legs to pull the rope that is part of this pulley system. And you managed to not smash into the harbor below, but now you are at the probably the most densely populated part of Iceport. There is so much going on in here. There is an open air fish market here. There is people hawking all sorts of goods from every corner of this place. Every square inch of the lower parts of Iceport is used for something, and commerce just abounds here.
Torsten is like struggling to navigate the crowd towards where that ship was, specifically because he has like stumbled a little bit from the ride down, and is like doing like some sort of breathing exercise to try not to just lose his lunch in the middle of the street.
He says, you get used to it. I have to come here at least 4 or 5 times a year, but
Ben just rolled a 17 on our Constitution saving throw. Just
yep, it's not a problem for you. Like, although how you haven't developed a fear of heights after getting attacked in high places yet, we'll see. Like,
I've got the secret wings.
oh, that's right, you do.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah, Awadir makes his way through here. People don't seem to pay him much attention. He doesn't really stand out. There's whereas like Goliath run most of the places around here. There's a mix of people here. This is a busy port. So there are elves and humans and dwarves and like all sorts of kinds of people here. All intermingling, all trying to sell their things and get out of town and bring in the next shipment. But you make your way to the ports. The smell of salt just blows off of the ocean, even in this kind of calm port. And this is where you get the massive sense of scale on this ship, and you can see it before you. You can see from this angle, you can see the painting of the name, and it is in Elven script and in common, and it is called the Sword of the North. The figurehead at the front of the ship is meant, you don't even have to roll a religion check. This is common iconography. This ship's figurehead is in the form, in an effigy of Rhea, the torch in the night. Her hair is painted to be that of fire in these oranges and red. The prow of the ship is plated in steel as if it is meant to cut through ice. You can only imagine the huge amount of crew it takes to just to sail this vessel out of a port. There are so many sails there. You can't even count the masts in here because of all the rigging required to hold up these sails. But what you do see amongst the rigging is a massive living tree that is just on the deck of this ship. But then you see what is around you. You see that there is someone, a giant Goliath woman is probably just 100 feet ahead of you, talking to an elven man who, with dark hair pulled back into a ponytail, wearing a very trim and proper uniform, a double-breasted coat meant for the warm weather, but sewn in with his signs of rank. There is another elven woman behind him, fairer skin and blonde. She lets her hair dangle long. She has her hand constantly on her scimitar at her side, her sheathed scimitar.
Torsten is going to look to Outdeer and point, that's the elder.
Says, yep, that is the elder. And I do not know who that elven man is.
Do you want me to, do we approach with subtlety or do we make an impression?
He thinks for a second. He says, time to make an impression. And he will, I think he has, where normally he keeps his bow and everything wrapped in leathers to protect it. He removes it from it and he slings it onto his back. And it is a very fine make of a bow.
Torsten is going to like flip up his thunder gauntlets, have them like ring out twice, and will allow a bit of like swagger into his voice as he announces Owitdir, second son of leader Owitdir, long may she live, custodian of the throne of Northern Reach, keeper of Winter's Keep.
The whole place stops for just a moment. You gather everyone's attention, at least for a split second. But the bustle of the crowd begins to build up again as they realize that's none of their business. But who has your full attention right now is the elder and clearly this captain and his lackey behind him. And the elder turns and begins to turns and sees who it is, turns to the captain, says something, and will come towards you and reach out. And she's adorned in pretty simple clothing. Honestly, you wouldn't be able to clock her as the elder, with the exception as she turns, that she wears she wears this ribbon, kind of like a brooch ribbon. It's kind of tied and knotted, and there are various stones put in there, some symbol of her station on her chest, in these like greens and golds. And she comes to Owitdir and she doesn't show any subservience to him, but she reaches out her hand and says, I would like to welcome you to Iceport, Lord Custodian. And he says, pleased to see you again, Elder. And he says, do you want to tell me what's going on? And she says, she's looking at the rest of you, and is this your entourage? And he says, I vouch for them. They are here with me. And they are under my employ and under my command for the moment. And she seems to not trust you, but like she seems to take that and acknowledges that. She says, well, the ship arrived here last night. I still haven't gotten a straight answer about what they want to do here, but over 100 troops have now moved through the town here and set up a camp up higher in the fjord, which is a problem I meant to get to you as soon as I could, but it is fortuitous you've shown up here. And Awadir is, you can tell he's barely holding it together. Like you see like kind of the bead of sweat of like, oh, what am I going to have to do here? As he says, all right, it is my job to speak to this captain. So I will do that. I will try to ascertain what it is we need to do to have them go on their way. And the elder says, that would be most helpful. And after she addresses this business, she will introduce herself to you. She says, my name is Elder Gathio Anakalutha, but you may call me Elder Stormdrifter.
Elder, I am Torsten Pinewalker of Ravenhold.
Fenxiris Roxalar of the mountains to the north. What I don't remember what you all call them, and you won't understand me.
You can just call me Grief.
She says, I'm pleased to meet you. She turns to Awadir. She says, I'm guessing your counselor is not going to be joining us. And Awadir chokes up just a little bit, and he says, no, the good counselor Dirk will not be joining us. It was an arduous journey getting here. And she says, all right, let me introduce you to the good captain. This captain has been waiting patiently for whatever is going on here to come to him instead of him coming to you. And Awadir says, I assume no more introductions are necessary. And the captain says, yes, that will not be necessary. I would like to introduce myself. I am Captain Nariman Kadev, and I am captain of the Sword of the North. And it is fortuitous that the gods have brought you here with such haste. And Awadir says, do you want to tell me why you're here? And why you've set up troops in my kingdom? And the captain says, certainly. The treaties with the other kingdoms are such that we feel that we have a right to establish a protectorate here. You are still the sovereign, We do not wish to depose you, dethrone you, but Northern Reach does not have a military to deal with the grave threats threatening our world. So, by order of President Jastra and the First Council of Ravenhold, we are here to establish that protectorate.
And your superiors assumed that the custodian would take it as anything other than an act of war.
We are acting well within our rights and our treaty, but that is a matter you would need to take up with someone higher than me. I am not able to make the decision.
Naturally.
In fact, that is another part of why we are here. The presence of our ship is needed elsewhere, but the Rangers will stay here. Commander Herden will keep them, and they will establish their presence here.
I don't know that anybody here requested your support.
Well, the good custodian was part of the First Council of Ravenhold. Certain powers were established then. And since both Southern Reach and Ravenhold have both fallen to this threat, the world seems to be in a bit of an emergency, and Voston will not stand for this threat to fester in other places. We do this as friends and allies, not as enemies.
If I may be so bold, where is your ship next traveling to?
We are to take the representative for a second council and safely escort them back to Vrusea. Like I said, the gods have shown us favor today by making this swift and painless and brought you here. So, at your convenience, we would like you to board the Sword of the North, and we will set sail immediately.
Looks to a Whitdeer.
Whitdeer is all tension right now. His jaw is clenched. His shoulders are tight. He breathes sharply through his nose, and he says, "If I go anywhere, it'll be on my own ship. I will fly only under the banner of Northern Reach. I do not require your presence, and your presence is unwelcome. And I will be making this very clear." The captain says, "That is well within your rights, but I have my orders, and we do not know who is under the influence of this cult. So I ask you, and I ask you, please board our ship, and we will set sail, and you will be safe. We need to protect you at all costs."
And if we have our own business to attend to.
What business do you have when the world is ending?
All due respect, I don't answer to you.
He just quietly nods to that. He said, acknowledging that is true. He is a military functionary. He's not your king. But go ahead and give me insight checks as you're standing here.
Only an 11. And I'll kind of look to Outdeers to like, to take cue on what we're supposed to do here.
A 12 that I will flash of genius for a 16.
16. Okay.
Yeah, I also rolled an 11.
Okay. With a 16, you're definitely getting the sense that this captain isn't actually asking anything. He's prepared to. He's very cool. He's very collected, and he's going to continue to press. But you see the ranks on him and the person behind him. And she seems to be just one rank below him. This is clearly his second in command, who just standing and looking. You get the sense that she is a cat ready to pounce. Like I said, her stance has meant that she always has a hand on her hilt. And she has been eyeing you, waiting for something to pop off.
Oh, it's good. It's a good thing she's not the only one.
He says, I will give you time to make any arrangements you need. But we will not stay here longer than we leave midday tomorrow. We set sail to Vrusea, and my orders are to have you safely in my custody.
We would hate to make an enemy of your superiors, as Torsten like looks at Grief.
Go ahead and make a persuasion check.
All right.
Or intimidation if that's the angle you're going for.
I am angling for persuasion, even though that makes no difference.
Okay.
18.
18. He says, nor do I want to have an enemy in our great allies of the kingdoms of man. And he'll do like a small salute, and by pulling like a fist to his chest and bowing, and he says, I will be in my quarters whenever you decide that you will come peacefully. And he kind of turns just about face, and he begins to walk up to the gangplank that is set to his ship. The lieutenant pauses for a second, and she is sizing up all of you, and then she will turn a few paces behind him and follow him.
I wonder how many
news.
other leaders are in their custody.
Mm-hmm. Or under their thumb.
Sounds like the whole council's compromised.
They realize they're describing kidnapping, right?
Oh yeah, I picked that up pretty much immediately. A protectorate? Like,
yeah.
There's a reason we don't have a military. It is impossible to mobilize through most of the Northern Reach. And winter is fast approaching. No one's going to invade.
So what do you want to do here?
I want to punch them.
Agreed.
I imagine we can't quite take them.
Dear, how fast can your ship get out of port? We can't outfight them, but can we outsail them? I'm saying this in their heads. By the way, just a heads up.
He says he eyes that ship and he says probably any ship could outsail that thing. I don't know what they're capable of. I've only heard stories of their navy. I've heard that they have druids and clerics and wizards aboard at all times. I don't know what they're capable of.
So do we attempt to flee?
I think that's our only option.
All right.
They've already made an act of war. We don't want to make. I'm not sure if we want to escalate things here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's find lodging for tonight.
Mhm.
You sure we shouldn't just head out?
I feel like night will be our friend, but we should send a word. He turns almost instinctually to his right as if to look for Dirk. And he says, we need to make contact with my ship. I understand that you also have a vessel. They may not know about that vessel. They may know about mine.
Oh, goodness. Yes. Can I send out word? We told them to meet us in a certain number of days, and I don't remember how many days that was.
Yeah.
Or how long we've been here.
I mean, you're at the harbor right now. Give me a perception check.
Okay. So classically gone. Oh, okay. Hold on. I just discovered I have a skill as a psionic rogue where I get to use a psionic dice to roll a d8 to add to my terrible roll that I just rolled. So I'm gonna use it. We'll see if that helps. Okay, it makes it just a flat 10 now.
The flat 10. I mean, it's easy to pick out because it's the only one that has a bunch of lizard folk on top on the deck.
All right. All right.
Your ship is here. They seem to be loading up a lot of fish.
Okay. Our ship's right over. Yeah, I'm not gonna point because I don't want anyone to notice what we're doing. Look. Oh goodness. Do you know a sundial? Look at your 7. Look at you. You see that ship?
Oh. He peers over. He says, "Oh, northwest." He seems to always know what direction it is.
Oh, okay. Yes, that one. Yeah. So that's our lovely sailing vessel. So my thought is tonight, number one, you're right. Let's get lodging. Let's pretend like we're staying. Number 2, we tell your vessel to sail tonight. Number 3, we also sail slightly earlier than your vessel.
He says, that's a hell of a plan.
And that the last thing is I'm gonna try. I don't know if I can get all the way out to them, but I am gonna try to reach out to your religious counselor back in town and let her know to prepare for what did they say, 1,000 troops?
100.
100. Sorry.
Um, he says, yeah, 100 rangers specifically. These are, and when I say ranger as the GM, this is a capital R ranger. This is a rank within their military. This is a unit. He says they're the most elite scouts that they have.
Yeah, they snuck up on us one night. Um, like we weren't doing anything wrong, and they didn't do anything to us, but they did sneak up on us. We tried to all we did was avoid this massive army coming down towards a town we had just left. And so we went out into the woods and took a nap, and the Rangers found us. So, yeah.
And where you see one, you'll eventually find 1,000.
Cockroaches.
Yeah, exactly. They are a sign of things to come. But they're also incredibly hard to track. So having advance warning will be good. Elric kind of pipes up. He says, I can reach out to them.
Yes.
I have a thing. Yes.
That would be, yeah, I don't think I can, I don't think my powers reach that far yet. So that would be great. I can talk to the folks in town though, but if you could reach out to the people of insert town name here.
Winterskeep.
Yeah.
Winterskeep, thank you. Specifically reach out to High Priestess Camille. That would be great.
Yeah. Yeah, he will mark off a couple of sendings.
And remember, 25 words or less.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay.
Like you see him, like he puts his fingers up to his lips, is like he's like counting. And he will shoot off a message to High Priestess Camille. And he says, "Did you also want me to? You wanted me to reach out to Camille? You wanted me to reach out to um the cap the captain of our ship, right?"
I see them in port. I can actually, we're close enough. I can talk to him real quick. Give me just a second here. Uh, hey Captain, do you remember me? You there?
You get a voice back, and it starts off like it's staticky initially, and then it like kind of like clears up, but it sounds like you're talking through like a metal tube for a moment. And this lizard folk says, "Are you Ghost?"
No. No, not a ghost. I this is we're in town and this is one way that I can communicate with y'all. Um, I can only do it about uh like a kilometer and a half away or so, but yeah. So what can you all make your ship ready to leave tonight?
He says, "Oh, scrawny lizard, yes, we are here for you."
Wonderful. Great. Yeah. We're so we're gonna do a little bit of deception here. Just so you know. So we're gonna take off at night and we wanna keep the colors, the flag colors as low as possible. Bring as little attention as we can as we go out.
He says, "Silent movements spear many fish." Understood.
Wonderful. We will see you tonight. And we'll leave at when the bell strikes 10.
He says, 10 rings, yes.
Okay. That our ship's in. They're good to go. I think while you all go get lodging, I'm gonna head to Whip. I'm gonna head to your ship. As sneakily as possible. And you can see the air quotes in your heads.
Torsten blinks. How are you doing that?
What? All right. As you prepare to do that, I think that's where we should take our break. So we will be back in 10 to 15 minutes, and we hope to see you soon.
Hey.
Welcome back, everybody. So you all are you've been politely asked to board this massive ship of the line, a vessel of war and destruction, and make your way back to Versailles under the protection of the Boston Navy. But it sounds like that's not what you're going to actually do. So you are planning to gain some lodging, and you are going to sneak onto the ship that our heroes, originally took into Iceport and told, hey, meet us back here in X amount of days. And you seem to have gotten that timing at least somewhat right. So or this is just the best place on the coast to buy fish. So, and they came here and decided to make the best of that. But well, either way, they're here. Your ship, I forgot the name of your ship. I don't have it written down anywhere in my notes. So
Let's see, did I write it down?
I remember the captain being named Crest, but nothing else.
Yeah, I don't think I got the name of the ship down. Oh, Call of Destiny.
The Call of Destiny. Yep. Yeah, your ship, the Call of Destiny, is here. And yes, the captain is Crest, because that's how they picked the captain, is the lizard folk that had the big crest. So yeah, it was very simple for them. And that's how they like it. And yeah, where are you heading off to? Elric has sent off a message to High Priestess Camille. Essentially, I'm not going to pare this down to 25 words personally, but he did. So it's, hey, Boston Rangers en route to Winter's Keep, be prepared for them, basically. So but yeah, he sent that off. You were also going to find Awudir's ship. Yeah, his ship is a merchant vessel. The ship he chartered, it's not his ship. The ship he chartered was a merchant vessel called the Snow Skipper. And
Snow Skipper.
Okay. Yep. And he says they've probably already talked to the dockmaster and figured out that's where I was chartered. So that's probably not a good ship to take.
Absolutely. I think what we're gonna do is have the Snow Skipper head out. If they get overtaken by the ship, I'm gonna tell them to give up immediately. We don't want to get them hurt by any means, but hopefully they can buy us some time to get where we needed to go before we're spotted.
All right. Yes, here, let's do it this way. And he will take out a piece of paper. He says, this job requires so much writing, and he begins to pen a letter with the plan and with his signature, and he will hand it to you. He says, that way there's no confusion, and he will hand you 10 gold to pay them to do this.
Okay. Sounds good.
That should more than compensate them for their time and the trouble.
Yes.
I don't know how the elder's actually feeling about this situation, but my heart tells me that this is something that should be resisted before it continues even further.
It would be better if your community was better connected, but I don't disagree. Like, it's the time does not choose the perfect time. It chooses the right time. Is there anyone amongst your tribe that we could reach out to as well? Because you mentioned they're more nomadic in nature, but they should know too.
Yes. I have a way to contact them. I'll send word to my mother. She'll be able to protect them and help them. It'll be her decision what she decides to do, if they decide to hide or if they decide to fight. That is up to them. I don't know. I don't know if what she'll decide to do. She's always been a little inscrutable in that way, but yeah, he whispers something again in that tongue you don't understand, and you hear the fluttering of like a small like barn swallow, like from one of the rafters, and it lands on his hand as he reaches out. He says something to it, and it flits off. He says, that's the best I can do.
All right. When I get back, I'll reach out to the elder in a way that we can be sure what her true feelings are. But priority one is getting you out of town safely and away from the grasp of Vosna.
He says, yeah, we'll wait for dusk. Will come early. We don't have to wait for a complete nightfall. The fog should roll in. We'll make our escape then.
Sounds good.
But you do understand that this will probably make us persona non grata in Vosna.
Yes, but also we probably should have warned you earlier. We already are, so no big deal.
We are?
I don't know. I figure.
That's okay. We're friends with a giant.
Also true.
Yeah.
Wait, that's new information. What?
Oh yeah, we made friends with a giant.
And can you introduce me to the giant? I know we're running, but
Sure. I don't know how we're supposed to get a hold of her.
Yeah, I would also I think Grief's being a little too kind with wording. I don't think we made friends with a giant. We made acquaintances with a giant.
I mean, speak for yourself. We're friends.
All right, well, fair enough, you know.
Not enemy.
It's true. We're not
Um,
enemies. That makes us friends, right?
Oh, okay. All right,
How
yeah,
optimistic.
Elric says, I mean, we know her name and she destroyed a fortress for us. So
Yeah.
We
that's
made an
pretty
agreement
friendly.
with her. Like,
You know?
You got me there.
We may not be friends, but we're friendly.
we're allies.
You know,
Allies is like friends.
that's yeah. All right. Fair enough. I stand corrected. But anyway, yeah. We'll we'll talk more about it on the ship once we're to safety.
Yeah, we'll
Um,
fill you in.
all right.
Thing.
This is gonna be out loud. Should we find lodging for the night?
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, it's been a long journey.
Mm-hmm. Shake off the
All
journey
right.
before we get to the sea.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yep. And Fenxiris will travel with them in the direction of an inn until she gets to a certain point at which it makes sense to her to break off towards the Awatdir's ship that was commissioned.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, and that's easy enough for you to do. Are you trying to do this stealthily, basically, to just kind of avoid
Well, I
detection?
am going to do my best acting to make it look like I'm trying to be stealthy.
Oh, interesting.
So possibly a deception check, possibly a performance check, up to you.
I'm good with this. Yeah, give me a performance check.
Oh, sweet goodly moodly. That's a 23.
Damn.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's right. You want them to know you're doing this. Like
Exactly.
I gotcha. I'm with you now. Cool.
Yep.
But we don't want
But
them
I don't
to
want them
know
to know that
they
I
know.
want them to see this.
Yeah. And this is exactly what you have achieved with the 23. You break away and like there's basically sailors all through here. It seems like while they're here docked, the sailors are having some leave for the moment. These aren't the rangers that were mobilized. They have already moved through the city. But so they've definitely like made note of you. Like, you're one of the few dragonborn here. But you make your way down to the harbor and you are very conspicuously seen by people on the ship, on the ship of the line. I mean, it's hard to avoid. It towers above all the other ships in this harbor. And you make your way
I'm,
to this. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I want you to picture me as Kronk with a bag over my shoulder.
100%.
Uh,
And you look so suspicious. Like you're doing the like triple checking over your shoulders every like few feet, like the whole thing. And you make your way to the snow skipper. They are loading up with the cargo that they've also been chartered to take, as well as they're just generally preparing to set sail as soon as they can, as soon as they have their passengers. The captain is a human man in his he's like in his 60s. He's got a long gray beard, very dark brown skin, and a completely bald head that is also like sunburned, like it would, it's sun damaged. He's been clearly a sailor for a long time. And he's just on the deck trying to get things done. He's helping a few people with the rigging. He's still, though he seems older, he doesn't seem to be slowing down at all. But he sees you come up. He says, "Anything I can do you for?"
Yes. That our dear sends his regards and would like us to leave at when the bell strikes 10. Uh, we will meet you slightly before that, and we shall arrive to leave as soon as we can. Please prepare the ship to leave at 10 p.m. And as she's saying that, she's going to hand the 10 gold that our dear gave her, and also the letter. And then in his head, after she has said this, she's going to say, "Please read this note from our dear. It'll explain what's happening a little bit better."
He looks at it, he unfolds it, and he glances at it. He takes the 10 gold and he says, we'll set sail promptly at 10 with our good friend on board. And he gives a little wink. So
Well, we will see you tonight. And Fen will start heading back towards the inn that she saw her friends going for.
all right.
And she is going to continue, like she's incorporating some of what she actually knows as sneaking, but like clearly making sure she is still seen a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. Easy enough to do. So yeah, so you make your way back, you connect back with your friends. You step into the y'all know of one tavern here. You know from the last time you went through. But yeah.
Our dear, question. Um and this is in his head, of course. How much how important is it for you to know how the elder feels about what is happening?
He says, it's not the most important thing. I can let her make her own decision. I mean, in general, she does. With everything being the way it is, with the throne of Winter's Keep, most of this is the only honestly city that we have. Most of the towns throughout are scattered lumber, hunting lodges, uh, trapper trade posts, things like that, nomadic waypoints, the occasional the forests tend to be more populated, but they're kind of spread out, not in really a city format. This is the only city, so the elder has been keeping her own for a while, and I trust that she'll continue to protect Iceport the way it needs to be. Maybe when I return, I'll remedy that relationship a little bit more.
Uh, would you like me to send her any word tonight before we leave?
Says, I wonder if it's best that she doesn't know what we plan to do. That way she's not held complicit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Fair.
but I also wonder if that leaves her hung out to dry.
Hmm.
Um, well, you don't, the leader doesn't have to be complicit. But what do you feel about certain strategic members of the community being complicit?
It feels like every decision I make might end up with blood on my hands, and I think that's the thing that I have feared the most for this long.
Which is fair, but I think knowing is going to be saving more lives than it's hurting. So give me just a moment, and I'm gonna reach out. I'm gonna see first. I'm gonna reach out to Bear to see if I know we met him in town here.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's back. So if he's
Yeah.
back, then I can probably talk to him. If he's not back, then no deal. But I'm gonna go. Bear, are you still around?
He says,
Are you back here?
"Yeah, are you back in town?"
Yeah, but only for a little while. But I wanted to give you a heads up. Uh, you probably noticed the big ship. You noticed the flag of ill intent, whatever that is. The elves are trying to take over the north. Uh, I'm not telling you that you have to fight them, but do your best to hinder them if you can. Um, if you can mobilize some people, uh, I mean, I know you're probably better with your dogs than you are with people. I get it, me too. But like any of your friends, anyone you trust, let them know. Resist in small ways, not dangerous ways, but small ways.
He says, "I already had some he says he says I already had some commander come try to come through and hire me and my dogs to help guide them through, but told them no. But I think you're right. The hand, the eye always watches, and today the hand will push."
Good. Stay safe.
He
And then
says, "Yeah, he'll tell you too." But yeah.
Fenn's also going to reach out to the first person, the first Goliath
Mhm.
that took us on one of the tram trips.
Yeah.
Hey, I hope you're not in the middle of a tram trip. Uh, hey, this is the Dragonborn that you helped us get up the hill.
Oh, hey, that's freaky.
Yeah,
What?
I know it's a weird mind power I got. I know. Let me tell you, just gem Dragonborns are weird. Not gonna lie, but I'm reaching out to you because you've seen the elves, you've seen the ship. Can you mobilize the cart workers um, to hinder them as much as possible? Don't get yourselves in trouble. Make sure everybody knows we're not fighting, we're not getting ourselves hurt, but we're hindering their trips.
He says, "I'm not moving any soldiers. And we've already agreed we're not.
Good,
We don't need their
good,
money that bad."
totally. They're here to take over the north, so if you can spread word to the other folks in your community to resist as best they can. And again, don't endanger yourselves, but we need to outlast.
He says, Fuck yeah. Fuck those guys. And like I think you hear out, it's like um I think you actually hear like you hear it in your head, but you also hear him yell out from somewhere in this from the cliffside, fuck those guys.
Oh, yeah.
and,
Um,
and it kind of echoes out like between like different kids like through this cliffside.
Thing.
one of them looks at somebody on the ship and says, "Hey, you, what's your name?"
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like there you've caused some ruckus that start happening throughout here, and
Fuck you
um
in particular.
like you see like one of the sailors, she's just like out on leave. It's like goes up to one of the workers and it's like and like says like, hey, want to go up? And he's like, well, you need some of these. And he's like, these what? He's like, these nuts. And the lift like lifts up like
Oh, children.
Torsten will say out loud, "The kids are all right."
Um, and then the last again, like we're in the inn here, so I don't have to strain as hard, but I'm gonna uh be communicating with because we went back to the inn we stayed at the original time, right? That the
yeah, I'm trying to remember what it was.
I got it written down, Fishhead Inn.
The fish head in. Yeah.
And I'm gonna do something similar of just like communicating, hey, you've seen the elves, right? You've seen the ship. This is an invasion force. They're trying to take over the north. Don't don't get yourselves hurt, but try to resist in little ways if you can, and get the members of your community together because the elves have been doing this around the world. It's we've seen it elsewhere. They're doing it here. They're trying to rule the world and take advantage of the dragon situation.
He says, I've seen, he says, I'm glad to hear from you again, friend. I'm glad you seem safe and sound. He says, many people have tried to invade Iceport, and we have survived anyway. We'll survive this too.
But
If you need some fish for your journey, you know who to contact.
absolutely. In fact, I mean, like I think we're there, right? We're at. I hopefully I'm back at the end. Yeah, we said we're back at the end. So
Yeah, yeah,
out loud, I'm gonna say, oh yeah, let's get all around the table some delicious fish. Yeah.
yeah. And he yeah, he brings out the salt cured fish that is the specialty of this particular inn. So yeah, it's a salt cured whitefish. He serves it um with a various assortment of sauces and sides. Um, there's also there's always like hot potatoes to eat it with and things like that too.
Got it.
I think I compared it to Portuguese bacalhau. Like, yeah.
Mhm.
Um, and then I will also tell the innkeeper just so that they know to expect this in their head and say, hey, we're paying for the night. I think Grief already took care of that. Or our dear did. I'm not sure which, but anyway, um, just so you know, you're gonna see us leave and you're not gonna see us come back. Um, Please play dumb.
Oh, I plan on turning in early tonight. I've had a long day.
It's a good plan. Good plan.
And he'll kind of like, give you like a not hard slap on the back, but like a good pat on the back and like a squeeze of the shoulder. Like he's genuinely happy to see you all again.
Thank you so much for having us again. We appreciate it. It's great inn you got here.
Of course, anytime. Like anytime you're back in Iceport, like you have a room here. So, what is the plan as night begins to, as the sun begins to set? The shadows overtake this fjord early because of this fjord opens to the west. So at night, the shadows overtake the town very early. It becomes very dark. Lanterns begin to be lit all through the town. It's like candles along the cliff sides. The change in temperature that comes with it brings fog, starts rolling in over the waters. What's the plan for y'all?
If we're all okay with this, Torsten is going to, before the shadows grow too long, is going to find a jeweler specifically to look up to get some supplies for a revivify.
Okay. Yes. Go ahead and give me an investigation check.
Alrighty.
The DC's low because there are people here. You can ask about that too. But
15.
15? Okay. With a 15, yeah, easy enough to find. It's definitely down at the like lower markets here that you would find a jeweler like that. And yeah, it's this is one of the few establishments not run by a Goliath. There is a dwarven woman here, a resplendent beard, full of like gold and jewels, and she says, I've got finery jewelry. We've even I've gotten some nice emeralds recently, if you would like to look at them. What can I do for you?
I am in particular looking for diamonds. Fairly quality, but if you have any diamonds available.
I do. Is it for a special someone? Are you planning on proposing?
You flatter me. Unfortunately, no. It's for some equipment that I'm working on. It needs to reflect and refract energy in a very certain way.
She thinks in her head for a second. She says, "Do you need a diamond for its life restoring properties?"
Yes.
Excellent. I keep a special stock of those. Not as well cut, not as brilliant. The clerics don't seem to care about that as much, but they do come through occasionally. And she like will pull a drawer from behind her counter, and she brings it, like pulls it out into as like a tray, and she puts it. And yeah, they are still beautiful diamonds, but she has an array of diamonds of various sizes. She says, if you're these won't bring back someone who's been long dead, but most of these will work for a quick revival. I have, and these ones here, if the body's been dead about 10 days, should be fine. From what I understand. I'm not a cleric myself. I'm just a purveyor of fineries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like between scenes, Torsten would have asked Elric what the material cost for Raised Dead is.
Yes. So Revivify is 300, Raised Dead is 500 gold for diamond.
Ooh, I I've misremembered those costs then. Because
We've got 1,639 of gold in party funds.
Yeah, if we're okay to dip into that,
Absolutely.
dip in for 500 for the race dead, and Torsten can fork over the 300 for a revivify.
Yeah. Yeah, she will sell them to you. And she will also she's also just going to give you a very nice ring as part of it. She says, I can't let a good spender go without a gift. And she'll give you this nice ring, and has it looks like it has like a carved pearl inside of it. Um it's nothing too fancy, but it is quite beautiful. And maybe if you do find someone you want to propose to, it'll work.
By generous of you. Uh, take care of yourself.
I will come back anytime. And she puts away these diamonds, locks that cabinet behind you. But yeah, so yeah, you can easily buy a revivify and raise that diamond. The raised dead diamond will work for revivify if that's necessary. But yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. I think Torsten will take a couple of valleys, double back, make it a little hard to trace him to this particular store. But on the way, on like a main roads, he's gonna take out a little bit of like scrap metal and use magical tinkering. And the way this works is I can do a static visual effect. Uh, Torsten is going to make it so that placing it on like any like public stairways, or not on anyone's particular house, just in very prominent public places. Makes it that when like sunlight or torchlight hits it, it'll show an image of that tree from the Vosna's flag being cut down, like a battle axe of the style breaking it.
I love that. Yeah, easy enough to do. You throw this up, and I think as we focus on that piece of graffiti and you walk back to your party, I think that's what we're going to call it for tonight.
All right.
As you begin to prepare to sneak out of this town and get on the ship. So, what a good session, y'all. Like, fantastic. Thank you everyone for being here. Let's go ahead and do our outros. We'll start with you, Silver.
Hi, everybody. I am Silver_Bulette here on Twitch as well as over on YouTube. I happen to be the host of Capes and Caverns, which is a bi-weekly, that's every 2 other week, right? Yeah, anyway, we release a new episode every other week. It is our D&D, but overlaid with superheroes, actual play podcast. If you go and find us on Apple or Spotify, or anywhere where you like to listen to podcasts, we have about 11 episodes out right now. Also, I am the host of All the Web's a Stage, short play podcast. I've been listening to it a lot recently, going, I need to get back into making new episodes. So I might end my 3-year hiatus and get another episode going. That's me.
Excellent. Levi.
Hello, I am Levi, like the jeans.bluesky.social, like -the-jeans on itch.io, where you can find quite a few things. If you like angsty teen monsters, I have some monster hearts. If you like weird fan fiction crossovers, I have stuff for interstitial, which I do plan on updating eventually for second edition. And if you like analog horror, I have public access and Odyssey tape, technically referencing the dating game, but more accurately parodies of the dating game I've seen. I also have a mystery called the Degoya County Florba Experience, where a very disappointing candy factory themed immersive experience has a little more than it seems. I am also a frequent contributor on Sprigs and Kindling, a community fanzine for Car from Brindlewood. Not only do I have some entries in the most recent issue, I also have entries in the 2 upcoming issues. So you can find that at sprigsandkindling.com.
Fantastic, Jaden.
Hey, I am Siliqui or Jaden. You can find me everywhere online as FatSapphicBro. Mostly hang out on TikTok while we have it and make a variety of content. Feel free to come hang out with me. I am also trying to stream more here on Twitch and also on YouTube. So yeah, follow me if you like. As for TTRPG actual play streaming, I'm here on Twitch most Sundays 7:30 to 9:30 p.m. Most Mondays 6 to 9 p.m. Most Tuesdays 6 to 9 p.m. all Pacific time, not the last 7 days of the month. All the details are in the announcements. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Awesome. And I have been archangelic, and you can find me at all the times that Seliqui said, and that is in the schedule that was on the break screen and everything like that. You can also find many links for me on my website, archangelic.space. I also do professional GMing, so if you would like me to book me to run a game for you, you can book me at startplaying.games/GM/archangelic. I also have some sessions up to run for Vecna Eve of Ruin if you want to play some high level D&D. Also has some one-shot sessions if you would like to learn to play Thirsty Sword Lesbians, for instance, and try branch out from D&D. So I've got some one-shot set up to do that. If you've missed any of our games, you can check them out on YouTube. The link is in our link tree and it's in the channel description. We also have a podcast version of this game. You can search up Era of the Dragons or Lantern Light Adventures wherever you find podcasts. We are going to be going into our Patreon supported after show shortly. You can find those at patreon.com/lanternlightadventures. The after show will always be free, but your support would mean the world to us. Thanks again to you wonderful players, for being here. Thank you to our wonderful audience for joining us. And lastly, thank you to our producer, Polly Geist, for helping us stream this show. We all appreciate you, and we couldn't do it without you. And with that, as always, we love you, and we hope to see you next time. Good night, everybody.